Good day, everyone. I'm Matt Harrison, and you are listening to the Geary Cast, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Gearys out there, and as part of the Sports Social Podcast Network. Malaga are now 2 games into the season with 2 points on the board. So it's onwards to match day 3 to see if that's where we can get our first 3 points of the season. Coming to La Rosaleda, looking for their 3rd win in a row in the league so far this season, is Albacete, aka El Queso Mecánico. I've messed that up twice now. The Clockwork Cheese. And speaking of big cheeses, I have a fine slice of well-mature GearyCast co-host right here in front of me. I'm joined tonight by Luke Chambers. Luke, I got through the intro in the end.
You got there, mate. It was quite an experience, but yeah, absolute privilege to be called a big cheese by Matt Harrison as well. Like an absolute pleasure. How are you, Matt?
I am very good. I'm back in the homeland of Marbella now. Yeah, all good. While we're talking, do you have a favourite cheese?
I'm a bit of a baby when it comes to cheese, so I'm not going to sound very adult here, but I love a Baby Bell. I really do.
I was a bit worried about my answer would be like, classic Brit, because I was going to just say I do like a cheddar, but I don't really eat much sort of plates of cheese, or I certainly don't at home. I think I'm too lazy to stand there and cut it all up. I'm happy to have a cheese board off someone else, though.
I think if anything, the main thing for a cheese with me would be a jacket potato or some nachos. I think that's about as far as it goes.
I think mine's definitely pizza. I do like a big pizza. What do you have on pizza? Mozzarella is probably the main cheese I have on pizza.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah, anyway, away from our cuisine choices, let's get into some Malaga news. Let's start with, obviously, we're a day away from transfer deadline. We think Malaga's business is done, but who knows? We're recording the day before, so maybe tomorrow there'll be a big unveil of someone that we've not expected, or something will happen, but we don't think so. Let's just go with the 2 we do know about at the moment. Let's go with, 2 which we expected as well. There's Juan Hernandez has gone to Algeciras. I guess we just wish him good luck. I don't think we have any issues with Juan Hernandez, do we, Luke?
No, I don't think there's too much to say about him. It's a decent little move for him, really is. His Malaga career never really got started, did it? I mean, after signing from Burgos, play with plenty of Segunda experience, I personally were excited about seeing him. And 1 goal in 22 games, it didn't really work out for him whatsoever.
No, because he obviously started our first game of last season. I seem to remember us all being pretty impressed with him. Obviously, he played ahead of Kevin as well. And obviously, Kevin is still is a Pellicer favourite. So Pellicer must have seen something in him to throw him in straight away. And he scored that goal against Recreativo Granada, I think. It was a very good goal, actually. Really
if I remember, it was a fantastic volley.
It was, and he almost got a really good volley towards the end of the season, and it just went wide. But they literally the 3 things. To be honest with you, when I saw him holding the Algeciras shirt or something with his unveiling, I was like, oh, that's what he looks like. Because I don't think I could remember his face really. But
no, I think for him, regarding his career, I mean, his performances wasn't there, but he's had a very stuttering season regarding injuries. Obviously, that didn't help him. When these Spanish players are basically, I mean, I think he's had about 12 clubs himself, so it must be hard to get settled when you're injured for 2 or 3 months at a time. Yeah,
and like you said, I wish him well. I have no beef with the guy whatsoever. Someone else I am wishing lots of luck to is our new signing. And again, I think we've touched upon this might be happening for a couple of episodes, but nothing confirmed. But a couple of hours ago, it was confirmed that Yanis Ramani is coming back to La Rosaleda. I believe he's signed a 1-year deal. It's a permanent deal. It's not a loan deal. Obviously, he's been at Eibar for the last 3 seasons. I think there was a loan in there to Tenerife as well. Thoughts, Luke?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited for this one. Obviously, we've seen his potential before 3 years ago, I think it was. Hats off to the Malaga socials today for really, really building this one up. And to be fair, the fans seem very, very excited. it's built up.
Just quickly on the Malaga socials, I didn't get the why not thing. Was I missing something?
Well, what it was, only what I can see is a few years ago, he on Instagram and he's put a picture up and he said something in Spanish and then why not? So I don't know if this is a famous little quote of Yanis Romani. I mean, if he scores his first goal, is the shirt going to come up with why not? I doubt. I doubt. But yeah, it's been built as a real marquee signing. I think it's been building up and linked for quite a while. When we put the news out the other day, though, interestingly on socials, we got a couple of tweets come back from the Tenerife fans. So he was on loan at Tenerife last year, and they said he was useless, basically. A particular quote were a headless chicken.
Yeah, I did see that.
I mean, based on the videos and pictures today of him turning up at La Rosaleda, the smile is beaming. He looks so happy to be back at the club. And you're like, that means a lot to footballers, don't it, when they're comfortable?
Yeah, and obviously he was here during the fanless COVID season. I think there's a shout that he was probably our best player that season, certainly our most exciting player. And it must be frustrating, like especially when you've seen the atmosphere at La Rosaleda over the past season, and you think, oh, I didn't even get to experience a little bit of that, like let alone all the sort of euphoria over the last couple of months in particular. So he must be like desperate to experience that. And he did seem to, my understanding is that he did want to stay with Malaga after that season. And obviously I think he was on loan from Almeria and he'd had a good season with us. He'd had a good season, I think a year or two before, maybe the year before with Mirandés or Lugo. He was at Lugo. He was quite good. But he had like a breakout at Mirandés, and he's had like quite a few good seasons in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand he's been pretty much constantly in and out at Eibar, and like you said, he went on loan to Tenerife. So yeah, I'm really excited. This is the one I've wanted for a while, actually. I like you said, all these people have said, oh, he's not been good for a few seasons, but I don't know. It feels like this is where
it feels right
for those seasons.
And like you say, Matt, I think I wouldn't know who owes it to him, but every player who played during COVID times in great stadiums like La Rosaleda must feel so cheated that they never got the fan base. I mean, I've got a little stat here, or a little bit of trivia. We're a bit of trivia. So Yanis Romani's last game for Malaga was actually on the 30th of May 2021. Okay. I've got the team here. If I told you in the whole squad, there is only one player who is still at the club. Bearing in mind, this is only 3 seasons ago. Of course, Well,
I was going to say the reason I know this is because I saw Romani's the Instagram posts today, and I saw a certain player like love-hearted it, and I thought he couldn't have been there at the same time, but he was. I googled, so that I know that's Hightam.
That's definitely Hightam. So Hightam on the bench this day. So what I'm going to say to you now, Matt, I'm going to go through this team, and all I want this. So this was starting 11 in Romani's last game. What I'm going to leave out is the right back, the captain, and the centre forward. So in this starting 11, you had Dani Barrio, centre half Juan de and Lomban, left back Jose Matos. Then you've got Jairo on the wing, Josebed, Christian Rodriguez, and of course Yanis. So the 3 what I've left out is the right back, the captain, and the centre forward.
The right back. So the captain's the right winger. Oh no, the captain's a midfielder.
Yeah,
so
captain's the centre
Munoz?
midfield. Luis Munoz is the captain. So yes.
Striker, is that when we had Stefan?
Stefan was on the bench.
Okay, I'm trying to think who the striker was that season, because we didn't score many.
I tell you, our youth players at the time who were sat on the bench: Andres Caro, Roberto, who obviously, like we spoke off air, I don't believe Roberto even had a game at that point.
I can't think of right backs either.
Okay. If I clued you up with the striker, we played against this guy recently, within the last 6 months.
Kai Quintana?
Certainly was Kai Quintana. He's very successful spell at Malaga.
And the right back, I've got Sifu in my head, and I don't think it was him. I think it was
who replaced. He was a youth prospect to ours at the time.
Okay. I forgot his name. Casas.
Yes, Ismael Casas.
Who was
when you think about it, for this to only be this shows, I don't know, Malaga's elevated seasons or just Spanish football in general, but 3 seasons ago, you've got 1 player left. I find that quite surreal.
Yeah, I suppose the other one that's still in the squad these days and is Ramon. He would have been in that squad, but it was at the time. But yeah, I think they must be the only two. Maybe Kevin must have been sort of there
floating,
in the
somewhere.
So but you're right. The only ones that are still there are like Atletico Malagueño players. So that is quite
crazy.
Interesting. Yeah. It is sort of, well, it's been a bit weird this year, I guess, while we're talking about transfers, because usually we start the season and I'm there on my phone with like the team sheet in front of me going, right, so that's so-and-so, and trying to learn the team, where I don't feel like I've had to do that much this time. It's very similar to last year. Everyone's mostly stayed on board for the Segunda journey. I think we touched upon it already. I don't think there's any other transfer links. I know Castillejo is still being linked, but I just can't see that happening.
It can't happen. I personally don't think it physically can happen either. No. But nothing at all, Matt, apart from the odd clickbait. Last week, Ike Perez said before the Miranda's game, our transfer work is done, minus Juan Hernandez leaving. I mean, this move is kind of been a bit of a blessing, but I do fully believe it's only came about because of the injuries to Kevin and Julian Albacete.
Like, the word that's coming out of the club is I don't think they've really hidden that either. They've sort of said, not explicitly, but that does seem to be the case. I still think we should have signed him anyway, but like obviously, yeah. And then just quickly, I know you guys mentioned it on the review show earlier in the week, and you mentioned about Kevin and Lobete's injury, and you sort of speculated on how long they're going to be out for. So maybe we should throw in now that it's been confirmed that Kevin's going to be out for about, I think, 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And Lobete 3 months. So, we probably won't see him until after the winter break now. So hopefully those guys' recovery goes well. So they will not be available for this coming game, obviously. We should say, as far as I'm aware, Romani's going to train tomorrow.
Yep.
He could start. I don't think
all being well. I believe. I mean, he's not really played for quite a bit, so hopefully a cameo on the bench or something really get the crowd going.
Yeah, and I guess for him that might even be better to sort of experience a La Rosaleda raw as he comes on, maybe in sort of the 50th.
He might be starstruck. He may never seen this before. Obviously we'll talk about the Malaga starting 11 in the second, and maybe talk about who could play ahead of him if there is even an option to play ahead of him. But we'll do a little bit on Albacete first. And by we, I don't just mean me and you. As always, we have Alex Fitzpatrick of the Spanish Segunda show to give us the lowdown on our opposition, Albacete.
Malaga take on Albacete on Saturday night, and their coach Alberto Gonzalez is probably the key to it all for them. When he arrived at the back end of last season, they were in the relegation zone with 9 games to go. He lost his first game against Espanyol, but won the next 5 and drew the final 3 when they were all but safe, and they survived comfortably. This season has been more of the same. They were expected to struggle by most people, including me. They lost some key players this summer, but they've won their first 2 games, including matchday 1 away at Granada. They play 4-4-2 and a quick pressing game, shown by them robbing the ball against Elche, as Elche were playing it out from the back and tapping it into the almost empty goal on match day 2 in that 1-0 victory. When they win it, they spring on to the attack, and on the left-hand side they have John Morcillo, who was with Amorebieta last season, and Ricky Rodriguez pulls the strings in central midfield. Tough game for Malaga, this one. They host Albacete, looking for their first win on Saturday night in La Rosaleda, 9:30 p.m. kickoff local time.
All the teams in the Spanish Segunda, go and listen to the Spanish Segunda show with Alex and Liam. Just quickly, because he started by saying the key to this Albacete team is the coach Alberto Gonzalez. Have you seen what he's been saying in the press today? Because I didn't know this till just before.
No, the only thing I do know about Alberto Gonzalez is he's one of our own.
He is. That's what I was going to say.
He started in the Malaga youth.
Yeah, he said that he's going to be. He's going to play in. Well, I've got a quote here: in front of many of my fans against a club that is my club. The truth is that I'm very happy to be able to experience this. So, yeah, hope it goes awful for him. To be honest,
very nice welcome for him. It's interesting that, like Alex mentioned, then the turnaround of the club since he's been in charge. I mean, I'm sure Alex has just read every single note what I've written down. So, but I mean, he's an expert on the Segunda. But yeah, rightly as he said, he took over, lost his first game, and I think he's been 11 that they haven't lost in.
Yeah, something like that. And like you said, the first two games, it was away to Granada, have obviously come down from the big league, and they won.
And Albacete deserved to win that game as well. It wasn't just like a hit and miss kind of thing. But I don't know about you, Matt. When you look at the fixture, Albacete at home, I'm thinking, yeah, win. That's a winnable game. But again, like Alex has just said, in truth, they've not lost a competitive game in 10. Granted, we haven't as well, so we're both riding high on clouds. But we're currently second in the league as well.
Yeah. What Alex didn't mention is actually they've won 3 in a row this year, because for some reason, between the Granada and Elche game, they played Linares in a friendly and won 4-0. So, it's really odd. But it's probably just showing they probably played some of their second string, and it turns out they might be quite good as well. It's to be honest with you, when I saw it on the fixture list, I think I must have seen this game maybe twice before. Maybe it just felt like 0-0 when I first looked at it, to be honest with you. But I
know we were saying about our start regarding Ferrol, Mirandes, Albacete, Cordoba being the tricky one, obviously, and then Huesca at home. We were all thinking we can get off to a great start here. I mean, don't get me wrong, we are unbeaten in 2. And if we can win on Saturday, then to me, that's a great start. But again, I'm just looking at Albacete, and I've misjudged them. I'll openly admit that. I mean, when you look at the actual, like I say, the results over the last 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, because I don't know many of their players. I did my usual thing. Oh, look, there's a guy that's played for Birmingham City. That seems to come up a lot. And his name's Medina, Agus Medina. He played for Birmingham City. Diego Gonzalez, I don't know if he's played.
No.
But
if I can tell you anything, Matt, that in the last 23 years, I mean, you could probably say this about every single Spanish team. In the last 23 years, I've had 23 managers.
Yeah.
None of them last very long, but interestingly as well, every single one of them's been Spaniards.
Oh, right.
And even when you look through the Albacete team, they've got 2 foreigners, one Venezuelan and one Moroccan, I think. So whereabouts in Spain is Albacete?
So La Mancha is it's a hard, because I've never been. I've been through it. It's a hard one to place. It's sort of in that weird space between, and again, correct, I might be wrong here, so don't hold me to this. I think it's in that space between Valencia and Madrid. It's sort of in the middle of like nowhere, but you make it to the point, actually, the more I think about it, I can't think of they feel like a very Spanish club to me, and I don't know why. Like, just the name, and it's sort of inland, and I think it's a university city, isn't it? I think I might think that because that guy that came to Alcoyano with me that loved Pacharan, he was going to university there, so maybe I've just decided it's a university town now. Obviously, the cheese is the famous thing there. I did mess it up in my intro but it was the 3rd time I tried the intro. I made a different mistake each time, one of them being not pressing record. But El Queso Mecanico, it definitely is my favorite nickname in Spain, even more so than who is it? Leganés is Los Pepe. I can never say it. Oh my God, I've had a bad day. Cucumber growers.
Keep to the Spanish vibe as well, Matt. I know you'll be able to tell me 2 very famous Spaniards who originated from Albacete through the youth academy before going on to bigger things.
I can name you one, definitely. I'm struggling to think of the other. So the one's Andres Iniesta, who's actually, I think, saved the club a couple of times, invested money.
And I believe, from what I was reading earlier, Andres Iniesta has actually opened a sports city around the club. I don't know if that is.
I know there is. I don't know if he's opened it, but I think it is named after him.
Yeah. Apparently, a lot of the funding, what he's put in, has gone to that. But the other very famous player, what came through them, was a centre forward. He had a couple of clubs and then had a very successful spell with Real Madrid, other clubs, Liverpool, Monaco.
Oh, yeah, I did know. Yeah, Morientes.
Fernando Morientes came from. But that's from the Spanish vibe as well. Interestingly, I mean, this is a bit of Wikipedia knowledge. But Albacete, very, very, very originally in 1896, was sourced to be started, shall we say, by an Englishman, John Hulse, who this guy was an English engineer who worked within the railway, specifically the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. He kind of worked in the city and brought football to the place, originally called Locomotive Albacete. Then many, many, many moons after that, Albacete became Albacete. I'm guessing they want Palombe first, was they? Or
Palombe, which is my favorite. I wish, like, because obviously there's Betis, Palombe, Palombe. I can't say. Oh my god!
What is Palombe, Matt, in Spanish? Does it mean anything? Or
well, yeah, it's football. If you put it, well, it's ball foot, I guess, if you translated it, because it's like ballon, Pierre's foot.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's more of a Spanish word, and like I think like some clubs used it as like, yeah, we're not using the English word sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's a cool word.
Yeah, makes sense.
But do you know why they called El Queso Mecánico, by the way?
Some kind of works within the place, maybe.
No, it's just because it's famous for cheese, and they had that really good team in the late 80s, early 90s, the one that got to the top flight, and they just played really good. And someone said, instead of the Clockwork Orange, which of course is what they used to call the famous total football team, or some people called it that. I don't think it's a nickname used widely, but said that Dutch team is Clockwork Orange. They said we can be Clockwork Cheese, or someone did that.
When learning about a lot of these Spanish clubs, they're always very interesting about the nicknames. They do quite a few random ones out.
One of my favorite ones. I do like. I think it's I wish there was more of a story to it. I was trying to think what my favorite club nickname was earlier, and I still think it's. And I'd be very impressed if you can guess this. It's because I won't try it in the native language. It's not a Spanish team. The Flying Donkeys. Do you know who the Flying Donkeys are?
It's not a Spanish team.
No, it's a European team. I'll help. It's not British.
No idea. Not somewhere in Austria.
No. It's they were a European team and they went bust, but I think they're coming back now. It's Chievo Verona, because Hellas Verona fans said there would be more chance of seeing a donkey fly over the stadium or something like that, and they called themselves the Flying Donkeys. And
I mean, that is very, very random, Matt. Very random. Cool, but random. I mean, for me, I'm a Los Boccarone man.
Yeah, that is a good. I always say that's the coolest sounding nickname, but like least impressive in English.
We
like,
sound very. We are. It sounds very much what we are. A beach, sunny place. It just sounds cool.
I think it sounds like tough as well. Los Boccarones, like it's got that cut and rut sound in it, and then the anchovies.
yeah, that sounds powerful. Who is it?
Yeah, like powerful. Anchovies are things like you see in little tins and fried plates down here. Anyway, I think we have proved ourselves to be experts on all things Albacete there. Let's move on. Let's talk a bit about Malaga. So I guess we sort of touched upon her already. Will Romani start? Do you think he should start? And if not, who takes that place on the left?
For me, without doubt, I'd like to see Antonito get his start. He's fearless. He adds a lot of attacking intent to our play. He's always a goal threat, and we know very much he's basically the face of the city since Tarragona. So I think he definitely deserves his chance. If all goes well regarding, I believe his medical will be fully done now, but Romani, as we mentioned before, I'd personally expect him on the bench. Maybe, I don't know, half an hour cameo. Regarding Hightam, we got 15 minutes out of him last week. I don't think he looked quite ready, but more progression maybe 20 minutes this week, maybe a 25. Look, we need Ramon for all season. We need Hightam all season. We don't just need Hightam for 10 games. And if we rush him too quick, I've just got a real fear that it could be a negative factor on him.
Yeah, and I guess I would agree with you. I'd go with Antonito as well. I think he's earned a starting place over the last 2 games, and obviously there's still the hype from last season. And again, like I wouldn't expect the 17-year-old to play, 60, 70 minutes, or more than 60, 70 minutes. So that would be a good time to bring on Ramani, and where, like I said earlier, there'll be that furore when he sort of comes on, and that passion from the crowd that hopefully will fire him up. Yeah, and I agree with you.
I mean, if the game's not swinging our way, you've got people like Ramani to get going, Hightam to get going. But for me, I mean, last week I raved about Aaron Ochoa Maloney, Antonito. I mean, I know we're only 2 games in and nothing too special has happened, but they both just look physically like they're matured over the summer. They don't particularly look like, we're bringing the kids on, which we are. But they seem to have more of a presence within the team.
Absolutely, yeah. I suppose the summer they've had, I guess that does breed confidence, doesn't it? And yeah, I agree. I think he was really good. I wasn't so impressed with Aaron in the first game, even like when he started. I didn't think he did anything wrong, but he wasn't really in it. But I did think he was good last time out. I think Antonito's been really, really good, and yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Positive players. Which we need, the more, shall we say, senior players in the last, even in a great season last season, the more senior players, nobody particularly stands out like they've been fantastic. So it is a perfect time to integrate these youth players who, I don't know, in 3 seasons could be, I'm not saying some of the best in Europe, but they've got that much potential to be whatever they want to be.
Yeah, I'd say, it's I guess we call him a senior player, even though he's a new player. I've been really impressed with Alex Pastor. I think he's been excellent. I thought he was even better in the second game. Who do you think, because I'm going to assume Pellicer is going to stick with him, who do you think partners him in this game? Because obviously Monte didn't play last time, which I didn't quite realise. That was that an injury?
Yeah, an injury.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, well, I thought he was suspended originally. And I'm thinking, well, why would he be suspended in the second game in a new league? But what it was, it's a shoulder injury. So if you remember last season at Real Murcia, he got a very bad injury in his shoulder where I think he said it was dislocated, but they popped it back in and somehow miraculously recovered. I haven't seen anything as of yet to say that he's fit. If he is fit, for me, Monte comes in.
I think I've seen that he is going to be.
I just think regarding a back 4, you need a solid back 4, and you need to get that back 4 in place early doors. Defense for me is something you don't mess around with too much. We swapped around a lot last season, and I wouldn't say we got away with it because we was defensively solid. I just think in this league, if we're swapping and changing our centre halves, fullbacks every week, we might get a bit unstuck.
Yeah. I think if he has had that shoulder injury again, I'm happy to stick with Aina. I trust both of them really, but for me, Pastor still has got to play alongside one of those.
Who currently, Matt? Who currently would be? I mean, I'm dropping Victor this week. I think it's last week especially. He was terrible, but who's your back 4 currently? Who's your go-to back 4 if all fit?
Okay, so if they're all fit and ignoring how bad Victor's been in the first 2 games, it would be Joaquin, because I just think I don't know, he's got something about him a little bit more than Pulgar, but that's really close, that one. I don't get as excited about Pulgar. I feel Joaquin's got something about him. He's, obviously maybe I'm a bit biased because of my friendship with Joaquin's friends last year. That's probably had a lasting impact on me. But no, I do just prefer him. That Monte, I think, is incredible. I think good enough to go up another league. I think he could be that good. And then Pastor and then Victor. But I'd agree with you. I would drop Victor for this game just to sort of send a message out and I've said I like Danny Sanchez. I don't know if how he'll find this step up with us because obviously a bit older, but yeah, I trust Danny Sanchez there. That we didn't even mention this actually, but that could be the other left wing option because we did do that a couple of times last season, play the two of them, and it was usually Victor went a bit further forward and they'd sort of swap a little bit. But I would not saying we should do that, but that is another option, I guess.
It's interesting you say that because I'm thinking more away from home maybe. If we could switch to a 5, would a Carlos Puga and Joaquin work? Like a Joaquin is more of a right centre half. Because Puga seems to me, if I think Carlos Puga, and I thought he had a good game last week, but the things what I remember is going forward more than defensively. So say if a Puga was in front of, again, for me, Joaquin does the better defensive work. Puga does the better attacking work. If you could put them both in a team at some point during the season, I'm not calling for a 5 at the back currently.
But to be honest with you, if we were going 5 at the back, I'd be quite happy with the 3.
The other side.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even mind Joaquin on the left. I think I'd trust him on the opposite wing.
Yeah, I'd go with that for sure. I'd go with that for sure. I mean, I'd love to see Aaron Ochoa and Maloney start. I just think he changes the way that we play. A lot more direct.
No Danny Lorenzo?
Potentially my midfield. I mean, I'd be pulling Juanpe out.
Yeah.
Obviously, his heroics in Ferrol quickly vanished back to our usual Juanpe. Yeah, maybe like a Danny Lorenzo and Aaron Ochoa Maloney together in front of Manu. If we could hold Manu, I think he could do a good job.
Out on the left, very young. I didn't know. I'd enjoy that. I don't know how successful it'd be, but
interesting, Matt. With you just saying about the young, then did you see David Larubio's comments on Twitter earlier?
I did not.
All it was we are not children anymore. It's now our time to mature. We've got Antonito, Aaron Ochoa, who are the children. Myself, Kevin, Danny Lorenzo. We are now. This is our time, and you think they are still very, very young players, but you are like, yeah, you've got 5 and 6 years on top of these guys.
Yes, another sort of just trying to think of a cheese mature joke there, but I couldn't quite get there. Maturing like some fine manchego.
I'll leave them to you.
Yeah, I guess the other thing then we need to talk about, perhaps before getting towards wrapping things up, is we do now have 3 strikers technically. I know Dione we got a bit confused by at times last year, but we do have Rocco, Castel, and Dione now. Dione did an interview, and forgive me, I can't remember who it was with. It was either El Desmond. I think it might be Malaga actually, but forgive me if I got that wrong. And he did make a point that, like, they were asking him about, is it good having this competition? And he was saying that it's great because he said all 3 of them are completely different. Where Rocco's more of a back to goal striker, Dione's a bit more of a floats around thing, and we haven't seen Castel yet, so I can't really comment too much. But he was saying that he's a bit pacier than the other 2. So who are we turning for? Who are we turning to for this game?
I mean, personally, after Mirandes, I'm calling for Dione. Obviously, he came on, scored the goal, meant a hell of a lot to himself. The team was all together again, but I don't know. It's nothing against Rocco so far because I think he's worked his bollocks off basically. But I'm not saying he's not getting involved. We're not involving him.
Yeah,
I can't remember too many attacks where you're like, oh, Rocco's done fantastic there, anything. Maybe with Dione dropping that little bit deeper, we've said about the goal threats of saying Antonito. Maybe that can bring us wingers more into like central positions, maybe. Again, Castel, they may spring a surprise and put Castel straight in there. I mean, he's been at the club now over a week, is it, or something?
Yeah. No,
I do think we do need to change it. I do think, and it's harsh on Rocco, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree for the exact reason you said. Especially, I always feel with someone like Danny Lorenzo, where if Dione's deep, Danny Lorenzo does like having a bit of a dribble and running towards the edge of the box and making something happen. And there will be that space for him a little bit more. So that would be my choice. I do want to see Castell play off the bench this weekend, though, just to, it's always nice to have a look at your new players. So just to sort of perhaps wrap things up, if we don't win this, if we draw, if we lose, do we panic? Is it really important to win this game?
Yes, to me, it's very important to win this game. We're only three games. Well, we're going to be 3 games in. In terms of points on the board, this game can be huge for us because automatically we're thinking, well, we haven't won yet. If we get beat on Saturday, we're still thinking, bloody hell, when we're going to win. However, if we do win, we're unbeaten in his first 3. We'll be on 5 points. If someone would have offered us 5 points from his first 3 unbeaten, we'd definitely have taken that. For me, the most important thing is not to lose on Saturday in La Rosaleda, purely because we need to build runs of 5 and 10 games unbeaten at home. La Rosaleda is an absolute fortress, and we need to keep fearing teams thinking, well, we don't want to go there. This is going to be hard. The fans will do it for sure. We need the players to reciprocate that same energy. For me, the main thing is don't get beat Saturday.
Yeah, my concern is, and just living in Spain and dealing with Spanish football, that if we don't win in 3 games, don't do the usual meltdown thing. And there's PSA is going to be if we don't win on the weekend, guaranteed there'll be PSA out. Not chance maybe, but talk, and then that will snowball a bit. And I just don't think we need that, and especially we've said, this young team. Yeah, I think we need to, when we did stick together at the end of last season, when things did get a bit tough, it seemed to work.
I mean, the thing is, Matt, when you look back to the playoffs, we were fantastic in the semi-finals. We was good against Tarragona, but we know better than anybody. The away game, we were shite.
Yeah.
The performances wasn't amazing, and I suppose when you look back, minus the playoffs, his performances wasn't great throughout the season. Our first 2 performances this season haven't been great. I think a performance on Saturday is a very important thing as well.
Yeah, I'd agree.
To get the Pellicer haters off.
Yeah. Obviously, I want us to win, and I think we have the ability to win.
Yeah, definitely.
If we drew, I would be a bit like, oh, this is a bit of a disappointing start, but sort of chill about it. At the moment, I can't some of the other season, the Guede season, for example. You could just see straight away at the start, this isn't going to work. I'm not, I wasn't saying sack him now, but I just had a feeling there was, I think so far in the first 2 games, we've not been spectacular, but I can see something there.
I just think with how together the club is, the fans, we see the players, the videos of the players in the dressing room, seems like a real brotherhood. Do you need to disrupt all that 5 games in? No, we need at least, nobody's going to know what's happening this season until at least 10 games in, and then you start looking and thinking, right, we are going to be in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
The question I was thinking, Matt, and my answer personally has changed a bit just on today. Is our squad currently stronger than we ended with in Tarragona?
Yes, but it's not a huge leap. I would say the only thing my brain went to there was, how much do we miss Roberto?
Yes.
I think that's the only question, really. And otherwise, I think the rest, if we could have kept Roberto, I'd said, I wouldn't have blinked. Yeah. But I think, generally, I think Pastor looks better than Juan de. We have not really lost many else. I can't think of
David Ferreira was always going to happen.
Yeah, but again,
I know we fell in love, but it was going to happen.
We sort of joked about his age, and then we turned back on it. But the truth is that we've got Aaron Ochoa Maloney, and Danny Lorenzo that can become a David Ferreira maybe. So
yeah. I mean, in truth, I'll come back on game 10 and ask that, because we've seen basically an hour of Julen Lebete. We've not seen Castells. Luis Thami, who's going to be, for me, a fantastic player. He's not even ready yet.
I should have asked that, actually. Is he ready? Because I wasn't sure myself. But
again, as far as it normally comes out Thursday night after Sergio Pelletier's interview, but I haven't been reading anything that says he's ready yet.
Which is a shame. Yeah,
I mean, when you think about it, in our next, hopefully, potentially next 3 and 4 games, we've got a fully fit Hightam, a Ramani, a Ramon, a Luis Sanchez. We like the golden boys of the division who can't win a game potentially.
Yes, but hopefully, let's stay positive for now.
Yeah, 100%.
And we'll wrap things up there. So I think we just need to plug the Vamos episode is out today. So for you guys listening, it was out yesterday. So go give that a listen. Although I'm almost tempted to say, don't go and give that a listen. Yes, it's the usual.
Interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah. The bottom honest chat, I think, is one for the ages. 7 minutes of I don't know what it wasn't football. Oh, actually, no, I did try to throw in some football and it kept getting vetoed, basically. But yes, listen to that. I don't think there's anything else we need to plug.
No, I dare say, unfortunately, bad news regarding the live stream again Saturday. The guys are all been. Matt and Chris are at the game. Alex is working. I'm at the Beverly Horse Racing, so I'm not available. So I dare say Nick probably won't do a live on his own, but I can guarantee he'll be on the minute by minute for you. So just click the notification bell and you won't miss a thing if you're not watching the game.
Great stuff. And we'll give a shout out to Barcelona Madrid in general that had Kevin in there the other day, which was random with kids signing shirts. It's always nice to give a shout out to Kevin and Barcelona. Those are my 2 favorite things.
So if on Saturday you see Matt just like really investigating any walls or seats or anything like, we're just trying to find Kevin's fingerprints.
Yeah, this is where he sat. Right. We'll leave things there. I will say thank you, Luke.
Thank you very much, mate. Big game on Saturday, and I hope you all have a great night. Vamos Malaga.
Vamos Malaga, indeed. Thank you to Alex Fitzpatrick again. Go and check out the Spanish Segunda show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you soon. Adios. And as always, Vamos Malaga.